Hi guys, Grayson here. I'm gonna show you how to put together a podcast intro on Audacity. So let's get started. Alright, so first thing you're gonna want to do here is open up Audacity. So open up, it'll look just like this. You've got your timeline here and all that stuff. So you're gonna want to take your intro, like just your voice that you have, and you're gonna want to just literally drag and drop it right into your timeline here. So now you've just got, I'll just play it here for a second.
Welcome to Go Get Great, the podcast where...
So that's just the voice, right? So that's Brittany's intro for Go Get Great that we've got there. So next thing you're going to want to do is take your music. I've got my music right here and just drop that right in. So a lot of music files, if you download them from somewhere, will record in stereo. You don't really need to worry about that. So what I always do is click this little arrow up here and go down to split stereo to mono. So now you'll have two mono tracks and just get rid of one. It doesn't really matter. It just means it'll play it in both your headphones at the same time instead of focusing on each ear. So now what you want to do is you can literally just, if you go to the top of these tabs, drag the whole clips wherever you want. So these will overlap each other now that you see that they're physically overlapping here. So the top one will always play on top of the bottom one. So if we give it a listen, you can kind of try to figure out where you want to put your intro. I'm going to put mine, it has a short ramp up and then it'll have like a little bass drop and then I'll have her start talking after that, right?
Welcome to Go Get Great, the podcast for aspiring...
So now obviously my audio clip here, like my music, is way too long. So I've got to figure out where I want to trim it to. I like having a little bit of music before and a little bit after the intro's done, just to create a little bit of space. So I will probably, for now, I'll just trim all of this out. So you're going to want to highlight it. If you just click and drag in the middle of your audio file, you can just select it and then hit delete, and it'll delete all the way up there. And then we can zoom in by, you can either click this magnifying glass or you can hit Control A or Command A, depending on what you are on. So now that we're a little bit closer, we can see all of the waveforms. So the bigger they are, the louder it is, and the smaller they are, the quieter it is. And what we're going to want to do is when she starts talking, we want to make sure that the music's not too loud. It's not interrupting her voice, basically. So when you listen to it like normal,
Welcome to Go Get Great, the podcast for aspiring...
It's not too bad, but the music is definitely competing with her voice, right? So while she's talking, you can see how when I kind of hover over it, there's a line there. That'll show exactly where the start of her voice is. What I'm going to do is just highlight everything that's in her voice, like that. And then I'm going to go to Effect, Volume and Compression, and I'm going to go to Amplify. So when you go to Amplify, you can choose how much louder, or if you do it minus, you can do it quieter. So you'll have to fiddle around with this to really feel what 8.7 decibels really is, but you can lower the volume this way. So when she's talking, I'm just going to lower it by that much. You can see it's quite a bit quieter now. Our only problem is when I play it.
Welcome to Go Get Great, the podcast for aspiring entrepreneurs.
Well, actually, you can't quite tell, but any other song, if it was, if it had continuous music, you would be able to tell it just drops off. There's no fade out or anything, right? So what we want to do is I'm actually just going to hit Command Z or Control Z to undo that change. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this part right here. Probably go about that far, just after she starts talking. Go to Effect, and then go to Fading. I'll do an adjustable fade. So if I pick Fade down at the top one for the fade type, this should just sit at 0. Don't have to worry about that one too much. So at the start, we'll have it at 100% volume. And then when it's ending our selection, we'll have it at 20% volume. If I apply that, you'll see it automatically brings it down to about 20% of the volume in a fade. So that way it fades out, and then I can just start where it ends, the fade out ends, select all the rest of this, probably to just before she finishes talking, And then go Effect again, volume compression, amplify, and then I'll just go down to, what was it, 8.8 I had it at, and then it should fade out and it'll stay quieter while she's talking.
Welcome to Go Get Great, the podcast.
So then obviously at the end, I like to have a little bit more music play at the end. So you're going to want it to fade back in.
The journey with Go Get Great.
So I actually kind of like that, but it works the same way. So you just highlight your selection there. I'm going to start it just before she finishes talking. And then I'm going to go to Effect again, Fading, Adjustable Fade, and I'm going to switch it to Fade Up instead. And I believe, no, so at the start, we'll leave it at 100% because we want the volume at 100% of what it's currently at, not its original volume. And then this one I'll put to, well, if it's at 20%, you would want to do 600%, so it goes back up to 100. But for now, I'm just going to do 200 and then apply it. And then you can see this part got louder. I should have made it quieter.
Great.
And then I think right when that wow sound starts, I want to fade it out so that way it can fade into the actual podcast episode. So I will go probably start, here's where it starts, right? Yeah, so right here, I'm going to want it, select where I want it to end. So the start of where I want it to start fading out, and then where I want the actual thing to, the actual podcast to start fading in. So probably right here where you see this little dip in the audio, where it's quietest, I'll probably try to get it to end right there. So then I'll go to Effect, Fading again, but this time I'm just going to do Fade Out, and that'll automatically fade it to absolutely 0, and delete everything after that. And then we'll see how it sounds.
Great.
There we go. So it almost sounds like it actually now ends on a fade. So super simple to do. Comes up, fades down, so you've got quieter music in the center here.
Podcast for aspiring entrepreneurs and ambitious small business owners. I'm your host, Brittany, owner of Brittany.
Not really competing with the music. You could also click the top of this to select the entire voice track, and then go to volume compression from Effect, amplify it if you want it to be a little bit louder, maybe 3 decibels louder, gets a little bit louder.
I'm your host, Brittany, owner of Brittany Miller Socials.
And it all works out really well. Okay, so now what you can do is you just come up into the top left and go File, Export Audio. You want to make sure it's export, and then you'll call it whatever you want. Choose where to save it, Documents here. Pick which file you want, probably MP3 for most cases. Choose your sound quality. If you want to save space, it's like your whole entire podcast, you might want to make it a little bit smaller. Otherwise, for such a small file, just pick the very top, mono, and export entire project. That way you don't have to worry about your different tracks, and then just hit export. If it's a bigger file, you'll see a loading screen, but this one is very short. So then right here, we've got Go Get Great, Intro 2.
Welcome to Go Get Great, the podcast for aspiring entrepreneurs.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Not too much to it. There's more you could do if you were really looking to make something wild, but for most cases, you're just gonna have the music fading in and out. Thank you for listening. If you want more tutorials like this, make sure you hit like and subscribe to the channel, and we can get some more stuff done. Thank you. Bye.